Hey Warren, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good brother. How are you?
Very good. I'm so glad we were able to hop on and do this. Like I've been connected with some of your mutual connections for so long and hearing things through Chris about what you guys have going on, and I'm just beyond excited to pick your brain on some of this stuff. And just to preface, like I'm this huge geek of like personal development and becoming a better man and becoming a better person. And it's really inspiring watching you do 75 hard. I know we're gonna kind of get into that a little bit. But I know we were talking kind of right before this, so it sounds like Dad Good might be starting to do a podcast.
We are doing a podcast, correct. We are trying to do a lot of things. A podcast is one of them. We've done one episode where Charles, Guy, and myself just basically talk to each other. But there are a lot of plans around doing a podcast and showing up, staying consistent with doing that because we just think that that's a really great segue to, you know, um getting dads who are in the community who want to share their story. There's so many cool things about a podcast and what you can do to reach more people out there. So yeah, we're excited about that and a number of other things that we have in the works as well.
Nice. And I know I've like taken a look at it, but I mean I'm not a dad, so I'm not a part of the group yet. Hopefully one day, but a little too young now. But give me like the quick synopsis. Like what is it you guys like to have in that group? What do you guys talk about?
Yeah, so what we talk about is a bunch of different stuff, and that's the beauty of it, I would say, is it's a space for dads to be dads. We believe, I'm sorry if you hear the girls in the background, but
No, you're
that's only appropriate for me. I got the artwork and everything too, so it's totally authentic around here. But I would say it's really at its core, it's a community for ambitious dads who want to excel at work. We have a lot of dadpreneurs, as we like to call them. They're building businesses, whatever they're doing in life, they want to excel at that. And obviously, winning at home with their family is one of the main things. And it's also just a place where we support each other. And we think nowadays that, dads obviously carry a lot, moms also carry a lot too, but us being dads, we wanted to provide a space where you don't have to do it alone. You have other dads around you that you can share your wins, share your struggles. I mean, if you're looking for a new job, if you're looking for advice, I talked to a dad yesterday who's a little older. His children are older, and he said, "Man, I wish I would have had this, when I was younger. It would have been really helpful." And he also said, well, when he said that, I said, "Well, what's cool is now that you're a part of the community, you can be that light for another dad who's in that season." So it's just a very cool thing, and we've only been doing it for 3 months. Today is our 3 month anniversary or whatever you want to call it, which is insane. It feels like we've been already doing it for like 3 years, but it's only been 3 months.
Yeah, and that's awesome, and it's really inspiring because, like, I've always been in the space of looking at people who are putting out content about being ambitious or trying to garner a community of people who are thinking the same way as you, but I haven't really came across it from the perspective of dads. Just obviously, like, I'm a bit younger, it's just not something I would think to go out of my way to do. But I feel like there'd be so much value in being able to pull experience of that because it isn't just how can I be a really hardworking man for myself? How can I be a really ambitious person for me? All these other people and considerations you have to take into effect. What would you say is one of the biggest lessons that you learned, like whether it's from somebody else or something that you learned personally, between trying to just be an ambitious man and being a good and ambitious dad?
I would say really just showing up with intention and just really, I mean, I've learned so much from building this community that it's crazy. And I learn more every single day. And as the dad, you learn a bunch. Even before we built the community, the day would come to an end and I would just be like, wow, I did this really well, and I did this like I failed terribly at this. And so there's a lot of self-reflection there when you do become a dad. But even before you become a dad, I would say just showing up. I mean, we kind of talked before we started recording, like before When I was a little bit younger, I would say I just kind of was just floating around. I wouldn't show up fully for opportunities or for things. And I would just say that's the main thing, man. Like literally 90% is like showing up. Like you show up, you give yourself an opportunity, you allow the chance for something to happen, whether it's a win or a loss. If it is a loss, hopefully you learn something from it. But I would just say honestly showing up, and I mean, that's what, the community really is all about. These dads join, they show up there, and the magic kind of unfolds as they do show up. And they show up with intention. They say, "Hey, these are the things that I'm struggling with. Like these are the things that I can help you guys with." And so I would say that's really the main thing.
Yeah. No, I think that's really good advice, like, just showing up. I like the way you put it of not even just showing up as, like, a mindset, like, I'm gonna show up and be intentional with everything I do, whether that's showing up for me, showing up for, a friend or my kids, whatever. It
Right.
almost feels like physically, like, literally too, like, you need to physically and literally show up to things that will generate opportunities. That's reaching out and joining communities that will have opportunities like a dad good. It's, going out to that event that you may or may not have wanted to go to meet these other people and have opportunities, and once you put yourself in the situation, it actually lets you capitalize on it. One of the things that I went into the rabbit hole of with, like, the personal development space, and we can kinda segue into that, I would love to talk about it, is if you're not disciplined with yourself and your life and you feel like you're kind of floating around and have not any real aim, it's going to be hard to magically click that into place and just hope that when the thing does come your way, you have the discipline and the capacity and the capability to take advantage of it. What's your perspective on preparing yourself and like sharpening the sword daily to be ready for when the real things do come your way?
Yeah, I would. Sorry, Sophia, come here, honey. Soph, come here, honey. I'm sorry, dude. 1 second.
Dad good in its finest.
Yeah, man. Sorry.
No, you're all good.
1 second. I'm sorry. So, what was the? Sorry. Remind me again. I'm sorry.
You're good,
Totally
brother.
lost track there, man.
You're good, brother. What I was saying was, like, your perspective on, like, the daily habits of sharpening your sword and, like, being prepared for when the opportunities actually do come your way.
Yeah. So I would say a big part of that is like establishing a routine that really kind of works for you. For me it's also the physical, so meaning like I love to work out and run. I basically like to try to do like really hard things. I mean, like the 75 hard challenge, like I just like to try to build myself up and do, you know, the physical stuff, the mental stuff, like just challenging yourself in different ways. And I think also for me, the running and the working out has always been like a really great outlet for me because it kind of bleeds into the other stuff. Like it helps with my work, it helps me be, a better dad, it helps me be more healthy. And so I think by just challenging yourself to do those things, like when life throws different things at you, you're kind of ready because you're already out there within yourself, like doing hard stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's not anybody really there to say like, hey, try this or try that. Like you're already out there, like, you're already out there challenging yourself. Like if you go for a run, try to challenge yourself to go a little bit further than you normally do, or a little bit faster than you normally do, like something like that. And so when life does throw like unexpected challenges at you, or you do get the call from, someone or an opportunity or something, you kind of built up your resilience to, you know, and that could be physically, mentally, like, hey, I'm ready for this challenge. I'm ready for, even if you're scared, you're kind of like building yourself up there. And also, I think having a community is really great too, because you can kind of lean on the community as well. Like you can, share that kind of stuff if something does come up, or, it's an exciting opportunity that you might be scared about. Like, hey, I don't know if I'm ready for this. It seems really scary. It seems like a big thing. If you have a community and you share that with them, there's so many others around who will kind of breathe life into you. And that's been a huge, it's the encouragement, the camaraderie, and all that good stuff. So,
I mean, that's a great perspective. Like, actually assuming that you could do it entirely by yourself, I think is naive. I think it's important to have like a support group. Like people think they could tough it out, and I think you just end up crashing. It's really not as easy as that. I think one of the main things you said there that I'm obsessed with. Do you ever listen to Andrew Huberman at all?
Have before, like clips here and there when I'm on my runs. I like to listen to those like YouTube compilations of like all the motivational stuff, and like he's usually thrown in there. So yeah, I'm a
What I
fan.
really like what I like about this guy is that he's a very smart neurologist, and he talks about all of these daily disciplines and all those concepts you talked about, but it's from a scientific perspective, and I'm a huge geek about like connecting the two. But
Mhm.
you mentioned building resilience, and it's kind of cool that what he talks about is the same way you're in the gym, literally building muscles by doing bicep curls and bench press. You also are building mental toughness physiologically with a part of your brain. Like I'm not enough of a geek. Like I don't remember the name of the piece, but there's a piece of your brain where if you genuinely do not want to do something, whether it's an extra rep or if you look at the run that you have to do and think like, man, I really don't want to do this, and then you do it, you're genuinely making that part of your brain larger. And the way that they were describing it is the neurological muscle that says, I'm building willpower. And that is a thing that can actually be tracked, which I think is awesome. Like I'm guessing that's like have you felt like making decisions about anything has become easier now that you've held yourself to a 75 hard standard?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, we kind of talked about it before. We got on the podcast. Is I think before I kind of started even my whole LinkedIn journey, because I really just started consistently posting and showing up here probably at the beginning of February. So it hasn't even been that long. But before all of that, I would, think about, man, I should show up on LinkedIn and like share my story more. Like I should, build a community for dads. All these ideas, they were there, but there was no execution, no action that I would ever kind of take. And so now I try to, when there is an idea or something like that, sure, there is some planning and maybe a checklist involved, but the main thing is like taking the action. And then as far as like the challenges with myself, honestly, dude, like I pride myself on like I kind of want people to be like, yeah, like the challenges are kind of crazy, like you're kind of crazy, like you're only supposed to run 5 miles each day, but you ran like 10 yesterday, it's pouring rain outside, like why are you like, and I really just get a kick out of that. Like if people are coming to me saying like, you're pretty crazy for doing that, then I know I'm headed in the right direction. And I mean, that may make me sound whatever, but like that's just how I like it. And that kind of just fuels my fire. And I would say even more so, I love those comments because those people are supporters. And I think that, hopefully I show them like, hey, like that's within you too. But then what lights my fire even more are like the people who are just like, yeah, like I don't really think you'll make it doing that. And I'm just like, okay, like, and we've heard this before 1,000 times, in all those motivational tapes, like, tell me I can't do it, like I'm gonna do it. But like it's really true, people come to you and say that kind of stuff, and it just sets me on fire, man. So
Dude, I no, I love that, and I think everyone gets it from their own place, right? Like, maybe it's growing up thinking you couldn't accomplish something, or you actually did have a moment where you were trying and someone shut you down and they were right, and you wanna prove them wrong for the rest of your life. Like, I feel like everyone has a crutch of that thing on their shoulder that they never wanna let fall off. It's about, "I wanna consistently prove this," and it's not even to prove, really. It's, "I wanna set this as a standard for me," and I like the part where you said, I want some people to be like it's like, no, I'm not doing this because I'm better than you. I want everybody to know that they have the capacity for the same level of success. And that's why when you have a mentality like that, you're always looking up. You're looking at someone that's better than you, being like, I'm not even doing anything that great. I want to be like this guy. And it's like you're consistently inspiring yourself and inspiring those that are kind of, trying to do something similar to what you do. And I think that's great. Like I've never actually taken the leap to fully do 75 hard. So like even you, that's a really good example. Like watching you do it is really inspiring to me.
thanks, bro. Yeah, man, it's been a fun journey, and I'm already looking ahead to to, other challenges. And that's kind of how I am. I mean, I need to finish this one off and I will. It's just in my mind, I'm already thinking like I'm almost doing a challenge within a challenge. 75 hard is obviously 75 days, but I started I think in the beginning of at the beginning of May, around the beginning. So, anyways, like have the full month of June and then it ends in like July 19th, something like that. But within June, I don't even know if I've told anyone this, maybe one of my buddies, but within June, because of the way the 75 hard works is 45-minute workout. One is indoor. So most people do some sort of weight training or whatever to Pilates, well, whatever, indoor, and then one outdoor for 45 minutes. Obviously, my outdoor is a run I usually do every evening. Well, you run for 45 minutes, and depending on your level of running, you get however many miles you get in 45 minutes. Normally, I'm like around, right around 5 miles. But for a while during the challenge, I was like, sometimes it would be only four or like 4.5. So in June alone, I promised myself that I would do at least 5 miles every day. And sometimes that entails, like I'm not at 5 miles, but I'm at the 45-minute mark. So I still have to keep running, and I have to do that every day in June. So like constantly trying to like kind of up the ante a little bit, and so if I hit this, then within the 75 hard challenge, I'll hit 150 miles in the month of June alone, which also goes to another bigger challenge of 1,000 miles in 2025. So it's all kind of just like, constantly just like, I mean, we're meant to, be stretched mentally, physically. And I mean, that's like one of my like favorite things. And I just think doing the physical and mental challenges like this just makes you better in all areas of your life. So, yeah.
Dude, no, that's awesome. I think there's so much to be said about elevating a standard like that and then promising to yourself that you're gonna hit it and actually hitting it. Like, I think just doing what you say you're gonna do while elevating those standards can be a really big thing. And that kinda leads to the question, like, what do you think it means to have confidence? Like, what do you think that means?
I think it means trusting in yourself and truly believing in yourself that you can, um, I'm sorry, that you can truly believing that you can, accomplish things. I think it really all starts there, like believing that you can actually do something, but then also, trusting in yourself. Like I think I made a post yesterday about the challenge, and it's really like it is about physical and mental toughness and all that stuff, but at its core, it's really about just trusting in yourself, like deciding you're going to do it, believing you can do it, and then just looking within and saying, like, I have everything that I need to do this. By all means, get your support, get your encouragement. That's why I put it on LinkedIn for the accountability. Someone asked me that the other day. They were like, why'd you do that? And I was like, well, because on day 7, if nobody knew I was doing it, I could just fizzle out, which is fine. But because I put it out here, there's been so many encouraging messages and comments, and those little things when you're in the thick of it sometimes can really help you push through to the next day. So, but I think at its core, being confident is just really trusting in your abilities, trusting in yourself, and then ultimately believing that what you're trying to accomplish can happen. It's like the famous saying, like whether you believe or you don't, like you're right, or you know what I'm talking about. Like if
Mhm.
you start something and right away you're like, I don't think I could do it, then you're right, probably. If you start something and you're like, I think I can do this, there's other people who have done it. There's other people who are living, the goals, the life that I might want to live or kind of close. So like, why not me? And so I think that's it.
I have a question about the perspective where I wrestled with this a lot when I was like 17, 18. I was diving into like all the motivational videos and trying to do everything like all at once. But at that point, you don't really have stacked wins to compare to. You don't really have a proof of concept for your confidence. What's your maybe advice for someone younger or someone who maybe doesn't have like they don't feel the confidence of, how can I just believe I can do it if I've never done it before? Like how where does that confidence come from and how do we avoid that from becoming, delusion? Like where do you kind of find the balance? What advice would you have?
I think continue to show up, and also I think if you do continue to show up, you could find mentors like that, great mentors who have accomplished some of those things. But I think, yeah, that's a great question because you maybe don't have like so many, wins under your belt. But I believe that no matter where you are too, like, you have special gifts, special story, and that is your unfair advantage. But yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think it's still kind of the same. You have to realize that you may not have any of those wins to kind of the proof of concept that you mentioned, but I think you just need to tell yourself in your mind, well, that's what I'm doing right now. Like me doing this right now, like that's how I'm going to get those wins, and that's how I'm going to keep going. Like there's another thing I say is like slow motion is greater than no motion. To me, when people ask about that, like no motion means basically like death, like it's like stagnation, like so in your example, a younger kid, like if you're not trying to do anything, if you're not moving towards something, then you're dying on the vine. And so even if you're crawling towards something, you're still making progress there. And each step, each day, you're kind of stacking that on top of each other. And another thing I would say is people will start to take notice. So that's another cool thing. Just keep going and you'd be surprised. They may not always tell you, but there's somebody who is paying attention, who's probably drawing some inspiration or some encouragement from what you're doing. Obviously, it helps a lot when they do express it to you because you're like, man, that's so cool. But even if they don't, just know that by you doing those things, there is somebody out there that you're impacting.
It's beautiful, and I agree. I think when it comes to, like, having some belief what is it? I listen to a lot of Andy Frisella, the guy who, made 75 Hard, and
Right.
one of the things that he says, and I've heard him say it a lot of different times, is the belief comes before the work, or the belief comes after the work. I think it's the belief comes after the work, where what he's saying is you just have to get going. You just have to move and start threading the needle and doing the small things every single day. And you're going to just work hard. And you don't even need to know if it's going to work out if you don't have those stacked wins yet. All that matters at that point is winning the day. I know he talks about that all the time. Like, just win the day, get done what you need to get done, and be confident day by day that that is what you just accomplished. It doesn't matter as much what is going to happen in the future. But one of the ways that I kind of take that philosophy, like when I was younger and I didn't have the stacked wins, I almost thought of it like way back in the day, right? If you were going to go be a blacksmith, you just had a mentor who was the blacksmith and you were the apprentice and you were the apprentice for 20 years. You didn't know if you were going to become a great one. All you cared about was I'm going to follow this guy's advice and trust that I'm getting pushed in the right direction. I
Mhm.
think with everything in life, it can be very similar. Just have a path and listen to people who have done it before you and say, even if I don't know if I can pull this off yet, all I'm gonna do is follow this path. And as you start putting in more work, the belief will come. And I 100% believe in that.
Yeah, man. I think just developing the trait of becoming unstoppable, basically. Like if you become somebody who's just not going to stop no matter what happens, then you will reach. There's just no other outcome than for you to reach some sort of success because no matter what, and people will start to notice on this guy or this girl, like it does not matter, like we've seen them go through like all of these things, all of these roadblocks have come up, and they're still just like showing up. Like there they are right now. You just become this unstoppable force. And I think that's kind of what I'm trying to develop now, even though would be nice to develop it, when you're like a lot younger. But life is life, and you go through a lot of different things. But yeah, I would say developing the trait of becoming unstoppable is just another huge one. And then Somebody said, I think it was Alex Hormozy. I heard him recently say, which I loved. He was like, you need to learn to be, almost happy about, your situation, or just happy about things when you have nothing to actually be happy about. What's cool about that is like, I feel like everyone, if you really, really dig in and think about it, you probably have, hopefully you have things to be happy about and grateful for. Like, even if nothing is going your way, hopefully you're healthy. So you're like, hey, I have my health, like I can walk around, like I can, do this and that. But when he said that, I just thought that was really cool, because there are a lot of periods in life where, like you are going to get some big wins and stuff, but like the majority of it, I would say, is like, you're in the grind, you're in the process, and like you're getting like kicked in the face and things like that. So like being able to still feel, like gratitude and be happy, even if you don't have like all of these millions of things, like, oh, I can pull on this to be like, it's just developing that kind of skill, I think, is just so important. And when I heard him say it, I was like, wow, that's so good,
Was
because
was that the very recent podcast on Modern Wisdom with Chris Williamson?
yeah, it probably was, because I listen to a lot of Chris. I listen to a
Yeah,
lot of Chris too. And so, and he's obviously amazing too. But yeah, I think that was it. And when he said it, I was like, man, that's just really that's solid advice for anybody.
because I know he talks about stuff kind of everywhere he goes, but I actually just heard what you're talking about this morning. Like, I was listening
There
to
you
it
go.
this morning, and he said exactly that. So,
There you
no, it's a
go.
great point. I wanna kinda lean on that, like, with, like, the gratitude and, like, what keeps us kind of found on stuff. Can I ask you a more personal question? I'd love to kinda dive into this.
Sure, man.
So I'm 100% like a man of God. I think it's very important to root ourselves in something that is love and peace, and having a church community and leaning into that is very important to me. But I want to kind of have an operational conversation on this. How do you take the perspective and balance between I'm going to let go and let God. I'm going to trust Him to place me in the opportunities that I need to be in, versus I'm going to take control of my life and be accountable to discipline. How do you like to ride that, and how important do you think it is to have both?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. I wish my wife was here to help me answer that. I think because she helps me a lot. I would say yes. I mean, you definitely need both, because I believe that God put things in us to do, but that's just it. He put things in us to do. He's not just gonna like do it for us like magically. He expects you. A lot of us, I would say a lot of us want to win the game, but a lot of us don't want to get in the game. So you gotta get in the game. He expects you to get in the game. And I also think about it, this is how I'll explain it. And this is something that's been a realization for me, is a lot of us want to stand at the starting line and try to look way down the path and see where the path is going to go, see the obstacles, but we don't want to like start the step. You know what I mean? Like we want to see the whole path at the starting line. And then once we do, we can like process it and then say, okay, like now I'm ready to walk. But then he doesn't work like that. He says, you're gonna take the steps, and you're not gonna be able to see really anything in front of you. You're just gonna encounter them as they come. But I'll be there with you. But that's what he expects of us. I mean, he doesn't like he's not gonna just reveal the entire path to you. And so I think that's an awesome question that you ask. And I think you just absolutely have to have both. I mean, I would say too is just do everything that you can, but you also just you put it in his hands. And if you can, end the day and say, God, I've done everything that I can do, like this is in your hands, then I think that's kind of the balancing act that you want there. Because I think that's what he expects. And I think that I believe that he always will provide, but I think that he also expects you to get out there and do your part. He's almost saying like, "Hey, you do your part. We know he's gonna do his, but it's like you have to get out there and do that." And I think I've fallen in that trap before, maybe where I'm like, he should just be doing most of this stuff for me, like blah blah blah. And he put the gifts in us, but that means we have to get out there and use them.
Yeah, dude. No, amen to that. The way I heard it put, like, I really love my church because, to be honest, like, I only became like religious at age like 18, 19, and like I was
Yeah.
kind of against it. And I started to lean into it, and we talk a lot about discipline, like very practical, where it's like, it's not about saying like, God, grant my wishes,
Yeah,
please. You know, it's not like I need you to just take the wheel and I'm gonna sleep on the couch because I'm tired
right.
today.
Yeah,
The whole idea of bearing a cross, like not even in a biblical sense, but genuinely saying like, we have work to do. This is on us. Like you can't expect all of God without putting in any of the work. Like it's not that you need to earn it. It's, obviously his love for us is always gonna be there, but you need to be moving what you can. I really like what you said of it's more we were made to be able to capitalize on the best that we can be. Like our goal is to always try to be the best that we can be and avoid the downfalls. But when the downfalls come, that's where we can lean into gratitude. We can lean into love and faith and be like, it's gonna be okay. These downfalls aren't the end of me. It's something that we can address and move through. And I think leaning on that and having that foundational, really just love, like love that you're going to have for yourself through him and the love that you'll be able to give to others through gratitude and being gracious and things like that. It'll allow you to just work really hard, but it's without having to kick yourself or think you're better than somebody else. It's just, I'm doing my job here. I'm bearing my cross and we got work to do.
yeah. Amen, brother. I love that. I mean, I'm in total agreement with that, 100%. So
Yeah, no, that's great. And I know I definitely wanted to address that. I know kind of coming up on time that I have kind of blocked off for this, but I'm so glad we were able to have this conversation. I would love to at some point, like Chris and I've talked about it, doing like a round table with more of the dad good guys and like having a deep conversation. Like I'd block off a weekend for that type of thing, like a couple hours.
dude, yeah, let's do that, man.
Like I respect your philosophy on stuff so much. Like I'm in a very serious relationship. Like the steps are going to be moving forward pretty quick. Like as the years come, like I very much look forward to being a dad and having people like you guys who are putting out the perspectives you are. I think is so important. I think young men, like I'm 22, just so you know, people in my age group and younger, I feel like are being very they don't know where to go. Like it's starting to feel aimless. They're starting to feel like maybe like they don't know what to do to be the right type of man or be the right type of dad. And I think it takes having a community of people sharing really genuine advice, like what you guys are putting out, that's going to make a world of difference. And like even just for me personally, I know the stuff that I see from you guys is fantastic, and I love that you guys are kind of rooted in faith with a lot of that too. I think it's really important as well. So thank you. I appreciate what you guys are putting out.
Yeah, that means the world, brother. Like, I'd be lying to you if I said, some days, I am kind of like, is this gonna work or is this even like a thing? And then I remind myself, well, you have almost 1,000 dads who, have willingly joined in 3 months. It's obviously something, and all of the messages that we usually get about this is like such a needed community and just dads like all different ages and stuff like that. So you hearing you say that just means so much, and I think that's really what we're aiming for, is just to have an impact and make a difference in people's lives and provide a space for dads. And I think I have so many goals and dreams for the community, and obviously I want to make it a huge thing. I want to make it something that's like what I do with my life, along with like some other things. But growing it into a business, and just being able to really make an impact on a lot of people is what we're aiming to do, really build something that feels like a piece of the people who are a part of it. Like if I could do anything, like that's what I would say, is like, a dad who's in there is just like, this place, it just feels like a piece of who I am now. Then we're on the right track. But yeah, man, that means the world. And it's definitely, you can have all the confidence and all the belief in the world, but like any human being, that wanes sometimes back and forth. And so hearing those things from others is always, reassuring, and just kind of, sometimes a little bit of fuel that you need on the fire to keep going. So
Yes, and you guys are gonna get there. And I know Chris is all over it. He's a part of it.
yeah, yeah, we
Anything
love
that we can do
Chris.
to help,
Yeah.
like we're all for it. Like we're all gonna succeed in this thing together, and what you guys do is amazing. So thanks for making the time today, Warren. I know, like, well, let's set something up. Like we'll all connect. We'll do a bigger roundtable. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I know Charles and Guy, the other co-founders would love to do that. And I think, yeah, man, we should now that you mention it, like, I mean, I'd love to do that like soon, dude. That would be so cool. I mean, because like I'm already excited about, the conversations, and that would just be a lot of great insight hearing from all of us on different subjects. And the combos would just be really good, a lot of cutting up and joking, and I'm not quite as funny as Charles and Guy are, I would say, yeah, that would be, now that you mention it, like I'm just thinking about that, and I'm excited to do that.
Yes,
So
dude,
let's
and
definitely
and
do it,
and
man.
the honesty thing of, like, where it comes from for me is, like, kinda selfishly, it's like, I'm very much the voice of I'm not the dad, but I'm the one who really wants to be, and I'm young. So it's like, well, you guys will be able to, like, we'll bounce advice, and I'll have a perspective of the types of things that people my age probably want. So let's definitely do that. Like, we'll connect after this. Let's set it up.
All right, sounds good, brother. Thank you so
Alright, dude.
much.
So yeah, of course. Thank you so much for making